first session, which is Take and Drinks. Welcome, welcome. Please get comfortable. If you're seated at the back, we encourage for you to sit, a little closer. I promise you, these chairs are so comfy. So please, if you can, just move a little closer. Welcome. I am so excited about this last session, The Future in 60 Minutes, and we're so excited about the panelists that we have. We've got so many amazing presentations that we're going to give you in this last round of our lightning talks. We have folks from different practices that's across art, sustainability, gender justice, and philanthropy. Let's just give them a hand. And how do you guys feel about the last 2 days? I mean, this is our last session before we say our goodbyes. It's been amazing workshops, installations, dialogues, debates, roundtables, amazing performances and talks. How are you guys feeling about the last 2 days? I think we can do better than that. I'm not convinced. Maybe I'll convince you after this last session. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome commissioned artist Jackie, whose work Kizazi you would have seen over 2 days. A beautiful, imaginative interpretation of the theme. Kizazi is a portmanteau of the Swahili word kizazi, meaning generation, and ki, symbolizing the intersection of access, knowledge, and technology's role in shaping Africa's future. Kizazi is a call for collective action, unity, and the transformative power of technology in building a more inclusive and just world. Ladies and gentlemen, with your best clap and round of applause, Jackie.
Boy, is it hot in here. Hi, everybody. My name is Jackie Njeri, and I am from the future. I'm also a digital artist, which means I spend a lot of my time in front of my laptop. And after that, I share it on social media, which I'm sure a lot of us have felt like sharing on social media is like screaming into an abyss. And that is why standing in front of you here to share my work, my inspirations for the future is an incredible honor. So thank you. In my practice, in my digital art, I work in the genre called African futurism. And African futurism is a cultural, aesthetic, and philosophy of science that centers the fusion of African culture, history, mythology, point of view with technology based in Africa and not limiting to the diaspora. There are other definitions, other themes of reclamation, Black liberation, revisioning the past, predictions of the future through a Black cultural lens in common. And as an African, of course, mine is African. There are misconceptions that African futurism is a mimicry of the West, pertaining to the borrowed concept. And we could talk about Black Panther and its reception and the similarities that were there based on other sci-fi movies we've seen before. And so I'm here to demystify that and take us back to history and historical African text systems, such as the Le Bon Bobon from Africa, which is the oldest known mathematical artifact. So this idea that all this knowledge was imported is actually wrong. And we can see some of the interpretations that were made from the artifact itself. And yeah, so we can see that we have this intelligence within our, in our histories and in our cultures. And then I'm going to introduce Sankofa to the majority of us, which is a principle from Ghana. And the literal meaning of it is go back and get it, which is the center of my work, where I believe that for us to move forward, we have to really understand our histories so that we are not building on imported knowledge. We are building from the core of understanding of who we are as a people and representing ourselves with verve and with pride, and with everything that feels good to be African, and knowledge that we inherently know and recognize. With that, I'm going to introduce my work. You might have seen it at the hub on the right hand, Kizazi, which is a portmanteau of two words, ki and kizazi. Ki being what we all know, the key, and kizazi, which is Swahili for generation. How many of you have seen this work? How many of you have an interpretation of the work that you would want me to take you through? No one? Okay, then it is my pleasure to take you through the work. So the work is divided into two parts: the future and history, and our African history, which is represented by the mask, which is, I think, the African identity. So you will see that I have used somewhat like a wall and a white light, which I feel is what technology represents. It represents the idea that this is what will push us forward as humanity. However, and I feel like I speak for many Africans, we feel like we have hit a wall because we are building on knowledge that has come to us, and we don't know where to find ourselves within that artwork. And therefore, my answer would be in the history, right? So in the work, you can see a generation sort of going back, represented by the child heading towards the mask, and the knowledge system represented by the pyramids. We had the intelligence that built the pyramids, so it is wrong to say we do not have the intelligence to create systems that help and propel technology forward. So then what do we do with the kids? We need to teach them their history, we need to teach them their cultures, and we need to teach them how to to carry on this back to tech. So from the conversations that we've had from this festival, it is, where do we as Africans plug into that? And yeah, so the mask has a cord that is ready to plug into the kit, and there is themes that have been talked about here that are also represented in the work, such as talk about financial inclusion and pay equity, and brain drain, which is represented by the brain sort of like being taken off and the technological hand sort of grabbing it. And we have like a centered division of the artificial, which is represented by the silver ball. And we have the moon, which represents these systems that have existed before as we know them. In the work, still, I try to talk about the effects of using tech and how that is contributing to climate change, which can be represented by, which is represented by the polar bear in its very unnatural habitat, which is the desert. And there's also elements of the, underwater sea cables and how that is also interrupting the natural habitat of, animals. And I think with that, I have used this meter to show, how we can go from the danger zone, ideally, into a green future, so to speak, a future that is healthy, a future that makes everybody feel represented, makes everybody happy, where, we create an ecosystem where everyone can thrive equally. I'm going to leave you with what I believe encapsulates what I've said, which is our history is our future. So as we build, let us remember who we are building for, and what that means to us as Africans in the contribution of humanity. Thank you very much for your time.
I do think we can do a better job at appreciating such an amazing presentation. Okay, that was for me. Thank you so much. But for the artists now, can we do a better job? That was so beautiful and so futuristic. And we're just getting started, which is the best part. Now, in the same enthusiasm as you celebrated our first speaker, please help me welcome Granville Wood, who is the Director of Strategic Partnerships at Open Energy Labs. Open Energy Labs is an edtech company with a purpose, teaching students in Africa how to build renewable electricity supplies. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together.
And it's just...
That was better, but we'll rehearse when I'm back.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. I'll go straight into my presentation. I'll do a brief before I jump into my presentation. Africa's development faces significant challenges due to widespread lack of technical expertise. This skills gap hampers progress in critical sectors such as infrastructure, energy, and technology, limiting the continent's ability to achieve sustainable growth and global competitiveness. Addressing this issue requires targeted investments in technical education, skills development, and capacity building initiatives to empower individuals and drive innovation across Africa. So here's where the problem is. Graduates don't have the skills needed by the solar home system market. Africa basically is known as a continent of a lot of statistics. 570 million people do not have access to electricity. 29% is a rural electrification rate in sub-Saharan Africa. A fifth of solar products stop working after 6 months. Schools and universities need scalable delivery models. Students are missing out on key skills in solar engineering. Solar home system suppliers are unable to fill these technical roles. Our solution, Energy Makers Academy, or as everyone likes to call it, EMA. This is where we teach students through a learn-by-making approach, providing them with key skills and knowledge to develop universal access to electricity. It's a development toolkit. Our mobile learning platform and integrated hardware demystifies energy systems and offers powerful capabilities for their design. I don't know what that last point means, but it sounds provocative. We're basically trying to reduce... Let's go. We're basically trying to reduce energy poverty. We empower and inspire people and communities to innovate towards affordable, reliable, and sustainable energy systems. What is this EMA kit that I'm talking about? It's a programmable kit with all the components needed to build a fully functioning solar home system. Or in this case, let me try and stick to solar charge controller. All the learning content is delivered via a mobile application. It's basically power education anyway. Okay, very, very important slide here. Each time we're running our trainings or pilots or whatever, we try to aim for 50-50 gender balance. How many of us agree for 50-50 gender balance? Show of hands, maybe. Show of hands. Let's go. It's a good number. So what we noticed is that during our different pilots, whether they were for free or we were offering them at a particular fee, we noticed that the number of women and ladies and girls was very, very low. So what we did is that we ran a deliberate campaign where we said we only need women to apply. We got very, very good feedback. What we saw is that when you do it like that, it has to be deliberate. No matter what program you're running, if you want to have more women filling these technical engineering roles, It has to be a bit deliberate where you say you only want women. And to be frank, with the engineering courses that we do and the electronics that we do, majority of the good work that we've seen has been coming from the women. Yes, women, clap for yourselves. I mean, come on. It has to be deliberate. If you're putting out an ad to say you want women to participate, let it be that only women should participate in order to fill that gap. Women have to feel protected in these spaces, and as well, women have to feel motivated in these engineering spaces, especially the engineering spaces. Okay, a bit of the impact. We've seen this in Zambia. 92% gained new skills. I don't know what the other 8% were doing. 80% showed improved lighting and mobile phone charging. I hope that this particular 80% will go up with the increased levels of load shedding that we're seeing a lot in here in Zambia. Not just in Zambia, but south of the equator. We've been hardly hit by load shedding. 60% got jobs or started a business. Okay, so at the end of the training, at the end of this particular training, we expect students to come up with new ways of generating electricity, whether based on whatever new technologies they've learned based on our kit, or if they can integrate the Energy Makers Academy kit into their project, that's fine. We're supporting that new tech that comes out of that. We do have these brainstorming sessions within our workshop where students are given the opportunity to present their ideas. As well, we assist the students with bringing these prototypes to life. First stage prototype. As well, we provide them with paths to funding, guiding them to where they can apply for funding, whether local or international. You give me a few minutes to just run, a few seconds, I'm looking at the time, a few seconds just run through this very, very important project that Open Energy Labs is doing. Okay, so this is called the Starlight Project. I'll read through. So the Starlight Project, this is smart street lighting for safety and security to women and girls in sub-Saharan Africa. The objectives of this project are to improve urban safety, in particular for women and girls, by addressing the correlation between low street lighting, crime, and gender-based violence. Our aim is to deploy solar-powered, low-cost, flat-pack, and easy-to-assemble street lighting systems with motion sensors here in Lusaka, Zambia, to conserve energy and enhance safety. We are going to demonstrate the economic and social benefits of gender-responsive street lighting, including increased employment and leadership opportunities for women, extended trading hours, and improved commercial activities. That's one of the main projects that we're working on right now. Our ability to deliver these trainings is impossible without our different partners. We work closely here in Zambia with the Government of the Republic of Zambia through the Ministry of Energy, Ministry of Technology and Science, and the different statutory bodies. We also work closely with the government in South Africa. We've got a pilot that's running in Kenya right now with the University of Strathmore, including the University of Cape Town, where we train students in Mulot, Kibera, and Soweto. We're supported by the FCDO, Kafue Gorge, and the Rural Electrification Authority. Apart from that, we're also a member of the Alliance for Rural Electrification. Should I stop? Thank you very much. My name is Granville Wood. Please reach out. Our workshop is open in Lusaka. You guys are welcome to visit. Thank you very much. Cheers. Yes.
I thought we did a practice run of our clap. Yes, let's celebrate. I told you I'm going to bring you amazing panelists to wrap it up. Right? So far? What do we think so far? I don't know if I should introduce the next person, if you people are ready. Okay. And our next person is Tendai Miti, the executive director. See, I love that energy. Let's keep that energy going. Tendai Miti is the executive director of Sister Sister Foundation, which is a feminist NGO that seeks to further the rights of women, children, and minorities through gender equal programs. I'm telling you from personal experience, she is as amazing as her outfit. Ladies and gentlemen, please, Tendai.
Hi. Hello, hello, hello. Oh my God, this stage is daunting, but you guys look amazing. Okay. So, like she said, my name is Tendai. I'm a feminist and executive director for Sister Sister Foundation. Now, fortunately for me, I stand here today to have a conversation about something that is not new. I mean, over the last 15, 20 years, amazing feminists from across the globe have laid a foundation for us with regards to tech and gender justice, how they intersect, and all of that. So really today is just me sharing my thoughts and hoping that I make you pause a bit and question the technology that we're using now. And as a young African feminist, my politics are deeply rooted in power imbalances, interrogating power, systemic barriers, and everything that hinders my fight for gender equality. So yeah, it's a lot. But this is not different with me with regards to tech and what I think about it. Now, over the last 20, 15 years, you agree with me that technology has advanced and changed the way that we do our work, how we live, how we connect, how we talk. I mean, it's the reason we're here today. From mobile phones to AI, technology is shaping our lives in different ways across the globe. But I think it's important for us, even as we hail the advancements, even as we praise it, to take a pause every few steps to really question the technology that we have. How is it working? Who is creating it? Are these innovations really inclusive? Or are they just perpetuating the already existing inequalities? And so for me, when I have conversations around tech, gender, justice, it's more so about asking critical questions, questions that make us pause and stop and question the work that we're doing with regards to technology. And over the last 5 years, in the Zambian context, in the sub-Saharan context, there's been a lot of talk around access with tech, getting these digital tools in the hands of people, getting access, connecting people to the internet in our rural areas. But for me, it's more so important that we interrogate the systemic barriers and the structural barriers that make it impossible for these young women, for these young girls, for marginalized groups and minority groups to really have a say in how they interact with technology, to have a say in how they shape the digital world that they live in, but also the digital tools that they're using. It's critical for us to question and say, if I'm pushing that I want internet access in the rural parts of Zambia and I want to put this cell phone in this young girl's hands, am I really preparing her for what she's about to face? So I feel like the conversation around gender justice and tech really should focus around those questions. And over the last many years, women, marginalized groups, and minorities have to navigate a world that is rife with violence. It's literally a fight for their lives every time they step out of that door. But with the advancement of technology, a new enemy has entered the chat. Tech facilitated gender-based violence. Now, for people who do not work in tech, for people who do not work in software or in protecting the rights of women and marginalized groups, this word seems like a buzzword. We've been hearing it when we sit in these rooms. Because it's not physical in nature when it's being done online, people do not believe us when we talk about it. But when you look at the statistics, it's rampant, with about 58% of women saying they've experienced some form of harassment or violence on the online space. And so it's something that we need to pay a lot of attention to when we're having conversations around technology. And this speaks to the representation with the technology. And from the keynote speech yesterday to the panel discussions we've had people continue to speak about representation. And we can see in the world that we live in the African context, how young girls, women are heavily underrepresented. And then this now forms AI that is rife with bias. We've heard of scandals where HR AI picks men just on the basis of them being men. We've had scandals where there's been inaccurate health diagnosis for women in these hospitals. And this is because we really do not have representation. These women are not speaking to the software, to the technology that you're putting in their hands and claiming that they're made to help them. And again, it goes to our AI, gender bias, ethics. We've been speaking about this a bit more, and I feel like this is something that should continue. The keynote speech spoke right to what I'm speaking about today, and I was so happy to hear everyone who was on stage reaffirm how we need to really interrogate the ethics with AI, who is collecting our data, how they're using it. Okay, now you allow me for a bit to speak about the work that Sister Foundation is doing. Shout out to my team somewhere there. For a team so small, Sister Foundation decided enough is enough. Let's use technology as a tool for liberation. So it's not all doom and gloom. So over the next couple of days, over 16 days of activism, we're going to be launching our Feminist Ethical AI Toolkit. Now, this toolkit has been created to help people like you who are creators, who are working around technology, to use it as a checklist. Is your software advancing gender equality? Or is your software biased? Is your software perpetuating the patriarchal society that we live in? It's also a toolkit that can be used to combat tech-facilitated gender-based violence. So for everyone sitting out there, it's something that you can look out for. I know the team will be speaking about it much later on as they network as well. Another thing that Sister Foundation is doing and that I'm proud of is what we're calling our Feminist Digital Coding Hub. Now, the Coding Hub was birthed from our desire to have a little radical feminist coding army. This is something we've been speaking about over the last 2 years with Anita. And over the last 9 months, we started our first cohort. So we have a group of young boys and young girls, 30 of them, with 24 of them being young girls. And we're basically equipping them with programming skills. We're teaching them how to create video games. We're teaching them how to code. And basically, we're giving them a skill that will allow them to participate fully in what we've been speaking about. If all we're doing is talking about involving young girls, involving minority groups and marginalized groups, we need to start with equipping them with the skills. They need to interrogate this technology, understand it, in order for them to create what they need. And so in creating the Feminist Digital Coding Hub, we decided to speak to intersectionality and include young girls who are visually impaired. But then entered the challenge, and the curriculum was telling us that they would not be able to learn at the same pace as their other friends. And so we created Braille Bites. Now, Braille Bites is our power tool that Sister Foundation is using to enable these young girls to learn and meaningfully engage with their computers, with their devices, and learn coding and programming at the same pace. It basically translates Braille. It changes the interface to make everything accessible for them in an environment that has been very challenging. When we brought this up to their guardians and the people and the other people we collaborate with, they were like, "You want to teach visually impaired girls to do what?" And so we said, let's start and let's figure it out, and then we birthed Braille Bites. So the hope for Braille Bites essentially is that we open it up and it becomes open source. I know my tech person is sitting somewhere here, and I hope I'm getting it correct, Edwin. But the hope is that it becomes open source and we open it up to collaboration for other people to add their input, but also to speak to more inclusivity all across the world. So this is what we're using and doing currently. Another thing that SSF is doing is that we are teaching young activists, young women, how to be safe online. And we're using a tool. We have a learning hub that's sitting on our platform. And this is all thanks to Mozilla, by the way. Shout out to Mozilla. So we had our first cohort graduate, and this program was basically teaching the 101s of being safe online, how to do activism, how to be safe, how to set up. So this is another thing. But more so, speaking to the Zambian context, we've had a lot of stigma with regards to reporting violence, accessing mental health, accessing sexual reproductive health rights. And SSF is currently working on a sexual reproductive health rights application with our friends from Amplify Change who are funding that. we're creating a sexual reproductive health rights that will be accessible worldwide for young people and adolescents to get all the information, the correct information at their fingertips. So this is something right now that we're hoping we use in order to expand, because our reach is quite small in the Zambian context, but using technology and using this software, we're able to reach even more people. So this is something that we're particularly proud of. And because of funding limitations, we're currently looking for more funding in order for us to expand this and provide the sort of care, wellness, and mental health that we hope this app can host, provide platforms that can be used to record, to take images when violence has occurred, for someone to use later on whenever they need to. So this is something that SSF is very proud of. And just in closing, I'm hoping that in me speaking about what I've spoken about over the last 8-10 minutes, I make you pause a bit, because I know we have funders in the room, we have creators in the room, we have people working in tech, but we also have activists in the room. I would like you to reimagine how technology works, not how it has been sold to you, not how it has been introduced to you, not how you use it, but think for a second how technology can work for someone who looks like you. Think for a second how technology can work for the people that you serve, the communities that you come from. If we take a minute to pause and think about that, I think we could do a bit of dismantling and cause some trouble and create technology that actually works for us. Thank you very much.
I think after such a beautiful presentation, she deserves a bigger round of applause. And now to close us out for this session, I have the rare honor of bringing the birthday lady, who I hope we will sing happy birthday for. But ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Liz Mangami, who's a social entrepreneur and a nonprofit professional with nearly 20 years of experience in resource mobilization, program design, and strategic partnership management, particularly focused on Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, but before we welcome her, I would like to just hear a happy birthday, real quick. She didn't hear that. Please, everybody.
Whew, I need to breathe. Good evening, everyone. Muriwanje. In my language, I say mahwera sei. What an experience these past few days have been, hey? Together, we've explored intersections of technology, philanthropy, and equity within Africa's evolving landscape. At a time where global inequities are pronounced and communities in the global south face compounding challenges, it's inspiring to feel the energy here. So thank you for bringing that. After attending the pre-fest Funder Summit and participating in the festival these past 2 days, I'm both humbled and invigorated by what we've shared. In preparing for this moment, I was initially perplexed by how my work and identity intersects with technology. And I began to doubt, and I sought advice from one of my many trusted advisors who gently reminded me that technology isn't limited to digital tools or this three-dimensional world. It also includes the technology of dreams. In Australian Aboriginal culture, dreams are seen as messages, downloads, and epiphanies that inspire innovation and imagination to be manifested into the tangible. Standing here on a continent rich in the natural resources that power today's technologies, it's worth remembering that dreams may be one of our first technologies, the source of visions for the world that we want to build. I want to thank Jackie for this extraordinary piece of work. Got it. For this extraordinary piece of work that really speaks wonderfully to this concept. The Mozilla Festival posed a powerful question. How do we work together to advance an equitable digital world in an African context? It's a big question, and I'm not sure we've answered it completely, but maybe the answer lies in the possibilities technology creates for collective action and reimagining new ways to shape our future. These reflections on technology and dreams now resonate deeply with me. My own journey began when I moved to the US at 19 in 1999, determined to explore a world both familiar and profoundly different. I am a big fan of generational nicknames, and I love to differentiate myself as a Zennial, one who came of age in both the analog and digital worlds. I know what it is to run up the phone bill because of dial-up. It also means that I watched the quantum leaps that were made in tech and digital tools in the first decade of the 21st century. And it opened up a world of possibility and opportunity. As a university student, I worked as a youth program officer in Chicago and saw the potential transformative power of social programs for youth. This experience grew into a vision to support youth back home in Zimbabwe, especially those from child-headed households. I funded Vanavevu in 2007 and registered it both as a US 501c3 and a trust in Zimbabwe. I had the knowledge and the experience to have figured out how to fund a startup nonprofit outside of conventional funding sources, high net worth individuals. Over 8 years, we partnered with individuals willing to make major donations to secure livelihoods for these young people, exploring how youth-led social enterprise could improve lives and support sustainable democracy. But as a young African-led organization, we often struggled to gain the attention of traditional funders who saw us as too niche or too small to scale. We knew, though, that our work mattered. These young people and their dreams were building something valuable. Congratulations to Tendai and the Sister Foundations for the fierce protection of young girls and women on our internet. The challenges I encountered with Vanavevu are the same ones facing many African-led organizations. My experience grounds me and drives Ndisu Consulting. We are seeking out social innovators across Africa with big ideas for change, but without the social capital that privileged organizations rely on. Ndisu is rooted in decolonizing philanthropy, unlocking pathways that bypass traditional gatekeepers to let African-led ideas flourish on their own terms. Our mission is radical yet straightforward. We want African organizations to access resources directly, to build their own infrastructure, tell their own stories, and grow according to their values, not those of external funders. At Ndisu, we're not only challenging who gets to participate in philanthropy, but we're redefining it entirely. Technology is a part of this transformation. It connects African organizations directly to global supporters, bypassing the need for institutional validation. Today, the internet, social media, and digital tools empower African organizations to build relationships and manage resources and raise funds independently, a possibility I could never have imagined when I first started. Technology has become a tool for empowerment, helping organizations grow sustainably. Africa's potential remains constrained. Despite having the world's youngest population, the continent remains one of the least digitally connected. We must ask what it means to be a continent brimming full of youth, yet struggling to access tech skills and infrastructure needed for full participation in a digital world. In many ways, the tech industry has bypassed meaningful investment in Africa for tech education. While young Africans work as the invisible workforce, handling some of technology's most harmful aspects, such as content moderation, exposing themselves to disturbing content with minimal support. The continent also shoulders a hidden cost in its vast contributions to tech innovation. Africa mines many of the minerals that power today's digital devices, yet this comes at a steep human cost and environmental price. we must ask why young Africans contribute so much labor, literally giving their bodies and natural resources, yet they aren't at the forefront of tech innovation. Why are they not building the tools that will drive communities forward instead of bearing the cost of the digital age? Decolonizing philanthropy. Sorry, I'm distracted by my timer. Decolonizing philanthropy also involves rethinking who can be a funder. Too often, African-led organizations are filtered through intermediaries that control access to funds, forcing them to perform for Western foundations and shape missions to meet external expectations. A powerful alternative of this example is of remittances sent by Africans in the diaspora, a significant source of funding that surpasses traditional aid. According to the World Bank, remittance flows from low to middle income countries reached 540 billion in 2020, with much directed to the global south. Remittances fund education, they fund healthcare, community projects directly fueled by love and duty to family. Recognizing remittances as a form of philanthropy broadens our understanding on giving and highlights the potential impact of direct channels. Through Ndisu, I am excited to work with nonprofit leaders, building social innovations in their communities. These leaders drive development from the ground up, but often lack resources to grow sustainably. And technology has become that bridge. Beyond funding, technology connects us. This technology levels the playing field, not completely, but enough that we can envision a future where funding is more equitable and African-led. Granville, who spoke earlier, and his colleagues have crowdsourced over £120,000 through these tools, which is proof of the possibilities. As the final speaker of this transformative gathering, I want to extend an invitation. Ndisu is here to support leaders across this continent, building pathways for wealth and resources to uplift those driving change in their communities. To the funders, both institutional and individual, especially those with wealth tied to Africa's colonial history, I invite you to reimagine that legacy. Think about what opportunity exists to make amends, to repair, by removing resources into the hands of communities, improving lives from the ground up. Let's build partnerships, not transactions, bridges, not barriers. Together we can use technology for a world where opportunity, justice, and innovation truly serve the people. Thank you to all the incredible speakers, facilitators, and the Mozilla Foundation for making MozFest House Zambia a remarkable place for learning, connection, growth. The experience has been unforgettable. Let's continue building something transformative together. Thank you, everyone.